When you look at the world's engineering marvels, new stadiums come in at the top of the list. And so do their price tags, as these structures built to please the masses come at a hefty cost, like in the case of LA's new SoFi Stadium, being built for a staggering $5 billion. That's so much money, it's nearly impossible to think about it. Why do new stadiums cost so much? The answer to that and more is coming up right after this.
Yeah, it's a tough job making sure fellas manscape, but someone's got to do it.
What a moron, scratching his junk on a lunch date. He's not manscaping.
People wonder why I became a PI. Well, Manscaped has the best clippers out there with ceramic, non-rusting blades, and it's my job to make sure people use them properly.
Dick, I'm so worried. I found pubes everywhere. I think my man's cheating on me.
Oh, honey, your man is just using Lawnmower 2.0 at 5,000 RPMs. He's trimming his junk better than ever before. Relax. He's got something special planned for you.
In my line of work, you get lots of secret information, like how you can go to manscaped.com and check out their replenishment plans and get replacement blades sent right to your house, and also free gifts. And you can choose the frequency. See, Dick Clippers has you covered.
Oh my God, Dick is Manscaped. Thanks, Dick.
Yep, another problem solved. You know I take Venmo. The name is Dick Clip. Hello?
Yeah, so to find me, go to manscaped.com. Enter in my code POINT20 and get 20% off your first order and get free shipping. And we'll even throw this super secret shed travel bag for free. Tell them Dick Clippers, private investigator, sent you. I just want to be clear, I'm not actually looking at anyone's privates.
The concept of a stadium is relatively simple, a sloped seating area surrounding a focal point of interest, usually for a sporting contest or concert. It wasn't demonstrated until the Romans built the Colosseum that sophisticated engineering could be used to create massive venues for our entertainment, and the stadium itself would become a marvel. But as the Dark Ages set in and things like the plague and famine hampered humanity's ability to develop 4-4 speed, the stadium virtually disappeared from the engineering landscape. It wasn't until the late 19th century that the concept of the grandstand, relatively weak seating structures made out of wood, began to pop up as both soccer and baseball emerged as popular pastimes to distract people from the fact that they were dying of dysentery. As stadium design evolved, the world was given the first three-tiered venue, Yankee Stadium, which was built in 1923 for a cost of $2.4 million. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $35 million today, or 1 year of Mike Trout's contract. For as marvelous as Yankee Stadium was in the early 20th century, it was built at a relatively low cost, and the trend of stadiums not costing very much continued for nearly 80 years. The world's first dome stadium, the Astrodome, was built for $35 million in 1965, $218 million today. Busch Stadium in 1966, which didn't have a roof, was only $24 million or $185 million today. The Metrodome, $55 million in 1982 or $190 million today. Even the Georgia Dome, considered modern by our standards and open in 1992, cost $214 million back then. $382 million today. Though that isn't chump change, look at the outrageous costs of stadiums now. 8 recently opened arenas top the $1 billion price tag, with Globe Life Park set to open in 2020 topping $1 billion as well. And these venues aren't just limited to fat American happiness. 3 of them, Wembley in London, England, Krestovsky in St. Petersburg, Russia, and Tottenham Hotspur, also in London, topped over $1 billion. Even adjusting for inflation, stadiums have doubled, tripled, and quadrupled in cost in just a 28-year span. Oh wait, LA's stadium might end up topping out at $5 billion, a mind-boggling 13 times more than what the Georgia Dome cost. So why on earth are stadiums rising in cost more than insulin these days? In order to understand these astronomical price tags, we have to take a look at a stadium's journey from idea to reality to see where all this freaking money goes. I'm going to build it from the ground up, show you why the prices are going sky high, and at the end, hand you the itemized bill. Before I get started, these percentages are an estimate based on a document I found for a large stadium project. We're going to use the total cost figure of $2 billion, the estimated price of the new Las Vegas Stadium, as our baseline. They say a failure to plan is a plan to fail. Most of the time these startup costs aren't significant, however there is a lot we don't think about. Proposals, interactions with a city or county including bribes, renderings, etc. All of this adds up to about 0.05% of our budget, or around $3 million. This cost is rising as more and more stadium plans become politicized and are used as bargaining chips. Land isn't free. However, luckily in building a stadium, most plans involve buying large swaths of cheap land and usually in the middle of nowhere. In cases like the Rams, who bought space near Hollywood and Englewood, California, they probably paid a premium and maxed out their budget. Most stadiums like Mercedes-Benz or MetLife already own the land as they were built on the parking lot of an old stadium, but they had to blow up their old digs. Either way, one of these costs has to be paid, so at about 0.06% of the budget, that comes in at $1.125 million or more depending on the situation. Now we're getting into the larger costs. Firms like Populous don't work for free, and the more projects they do, the more they can charge a premium for their expertise. Even with a bidding process involving public funds, the most competitive bids don't come cheap, especially if the proposals are more intricate or feature complicated architecture. Retractable roofs, pavilions, and superstructures all require a ton of math and brainpower to design, and paying top dollar to ensure they don't collapse or suffer from drainage issues after 10 years is usually worth it. Well, if they don't collapse or get filled with human excrement. At 5.35%, architecture and design is our third largest cost at $106.9 million. Here is by far your biggest line item and the primary reason why stadium costs are rising. Fancy that it would be the actual assembly of a city's new toy. Though most proposals simply define the process as construction, there are three main extremely costly components. Material costs have been on the rise for quite some time, as most stadiums are constructed out of concrete and steel. Let's look at steel. Though there have been peaks and valleys in pricing, steel has increased in cost nearly 85% from the year 2002, significantly above the rate of inflation. Steel used to be relatively cheap, but overmining, China's hoarding, and tariffs have driven up the cost. But steel might not even be the biggest culprit. Copper has gone from 68 cents per pound to $2.64 in a 20-year period, a 288% increase. That's all the wiring for fancy IT systems, lighting, and technology. And we haven't even talked about concrete, which due to tariffs and production costs rose 20% alone in 2018. Oil prices also factor in, as plastic is the main component of the many seats. And trucking all that material in is costly. Material costs are simply outrageous. Another part of construction is the pure manpower involved, aka labor. Think of the specialized skills you need to build a stadium: welding, pipe fitting, electrical, millwrighting, whatever that is, steam fitting, crane operators, all trades that require talent and training. And all of those trades are almost always unionized. It's not like in Qatar where the government can just import slave labor from North Korea. In the USA, construction crews are the best and are well compensated. And the cost of human labor in America never goes down, as well as the safety measures to keep these fine people from getting injured or killed on the job. As time has gone on, OSHA, the government body in charge of regulating safety standards, has increased their measures for safety. This pick will never happen again. And with all that regulation comes with a valid cost. However, it's clear that this is a cost worth spending, as stadium construction fatalities are rare, even though in 2016 a worker fell to his death at US Bank Stadium. Compare that to other countries like the aforementioned Qatar, in which a speculated 1,200 deaths have already occurred, as they have enacted Panama Canal level oversight to building their World Cup stadiums. All of these items add up to a huge cost. 76% of the project at a near $1.5 billion of our budget. And we're still not done spending. These new stadiums are quite fancy, aren't they? Pinwheel roofs, huge scoreboards, pavilions, luxury suites, stripper poles, it all adds up. But there are things you don't even think about with new stadiums that enhance the spectator experience. Let's talk about scoreboards. They used to be lit with simple 3-color LEDs and looked like a Game Boy screen. Now they are full HD, ridiculously huge, and like at AT&T Stadium, cost $40 million. And my boy RBT got to play MMG and Madden on it. I'm jelly. There are more things that didn't even exist in 1970 when the Vet was open. IT networks so you can live tweet a game, 360-degree LED lighting, and basic fan dignity. With a dome stadium, you have additional costs for the roof, air conditioning, glass, etc. And let's not forget about those suites, as they are typically a profit center for teams. However, each one is like a miniature luxury apartment. Multiply those apartments by the 100. Yeah, the Vet didn't have marble floors anywhere either. This all totals out to an additional 8% of the budget at a cool $166 million for all of our toys. Finally, we have other costs that we didn't even think about before. Permits and taxes at $43 million, insurance at $18 million, paying the sales and marketing team to land these big contracts, $900,000. Project administration, yes, those people who point out that you missed a deadline, $49 million. And of course, building in cost overrun, which you can count on to happen, will be about $76 additional million. Other costs can include infrastructure development, the adding of mass transit, or in the case of LA's new stadium, the buildup of the surrounding areas with malls and gift shops where you can buy foam core to make yourself a "you Spano" sign. There are examples of prices being reasonable in areas where they need to be efficient and cost effective. Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis was built for $720 million in 2008, $843 million today. McLean Stadium in Waco, built in 2014, seats 45,000 and only cost $266 million. The Bounce House in Orlando only cost $55 million in 2017 and damn sure looks it. But when it comes to the big leagues, there isn't going to be any slowing down when it comes to cost. Whether public funding is involved or not, major sports arenas are getting more lavish, more jaw-dropping, more expensive to attend, and of course, cost more to build. And that's just how we fans like it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to check out manscaped.com and use my code POINTS100 and get 20% off your first order and free shipping. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to my next stadium video, and yes, I'm addicted to making these.